Okay, I cannot tell what is happening at all now. Let's see if we're live. It does not appear so. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that is the wrong account. That's sad. Okay. Yeah. So the wrong account is streaming, but I guess at least it's streaming. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm finally live and you can finally hear me. It's just under the wrong account because I have my default account set up somewhere else. Oh my gosh. Oh, it is so much easier to stream in Twitch. It is so much easier, just to be clear, like 100 times better. Anyway, hi, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, I have the wrong logo and I appear to be streaming. I don't even know how it's doing this, like how it's streaming from the wrong account into the correct account. Like it has an image. I'm like, I don't know where that image came from. It's clearly from my other account, but yay, you can hear me. That's so wonderful. Hi, everyone. Yay. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy you're here. So this was supposed to be not Tanya learns how to stream in YouTube Live and how to use sound, but it was actually supposed to be, yeah. Oh, you're working your way through my course. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad you like it. That makes me really excited. Honestly, I so wish someone could have taught that to me when I started learning application security. There's so many things in there that I spent the past 6 years learning. And I've taken a whole bunch of different courses and then you learn something in the course and then you actually go do it in real life. And it turns out sometimes it does work. And sometimes you're like, no, that's not how it's like at all. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm going to switch to YouTube permanently, specifically because my website where I'm making the courses and the membership integrates with YouTube and it doesn't integrate with Twitch. And also a lot of people have told me from a user perspective, they understand how to use YouTube and they don't understand how to use Twitch. And so I want to make it so that it's easy for people to join me as opposed to making it easy for me. And I'm a tech, I can learn how to do this. It's really non-intuitive. Like you have to set up so many different separate steps. I figured I could just take the API key and just plug it in, but nope, you have to do all sorts of interesting things. But now it's working-ish. I mean, it's showing a weird logo that is, it's like showing the slop logo, and I do not understand why it's doing that. But if it's working, I guess, and that's great. Oh, it also appears that it's not, it's not streaming so it's just streaming from my account. It's not streaming from my automated setup that I made, which is really not ideal. So I hope people aren't lost that I am invited to this and they're on a different link and it just says I'm not streaming. Crap. Anyway, I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you. So I'm wondering if anyone has any questions because, oh, the video is like 480 and we come from similar backgrounds. Oh, good. So yeah, so the video is bad. That's not cool. Okay, because I want the video to be awesome. And I have the video set up in this beautiful way and I have like, I have an HD camera. I want it to look glorious for you. I don't want it to not sound good or look good. I got a really nice camera on purpose. Yeah, I'm looking at it. This looks awful. Yeah, that looks bad. Let me see if I can change my settings so that it's nicer. I honestly wish that I had my video person here because it's like a week on, week off with I have a video employee now. Yes, but this is his week off now. No. Video seems fine on my end, but that's mobile on Pixel too. Yeah, it like in Zoom, it looks fantastic. But in in YouTube. It does not. Okay, because yeah, I'm looking at it looks horrible. And I'm not sure why it's showing like the sloppy DevOps stuff. Sorry for the confusion, everyone, but at least I finally got on and I get to hang out with everyone because it's kind of, it's nice to talk to people. Thank you, Ross. So does anyone have any questions about application security, or if you're taking my course, do you have questions about the course, or does anyone just want to like chat? Because I'm up for that too. I just wanted to connect. Yeah, that's okay, Benjamin. You're allowed to just listen and watch. You don't have to participate. It's okay. Sofiane or Sophie, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I was a software developer and I switched to security, and I managed to be able to switch at the company that I was at. So what I did was I volunteered for every single security related activity. And then I kept reporting security bugs to them. And then I ended up being in charge of hiring the pen testers and the secure coders. I mean, the secure code review guy. And then I put myself in charge of getting all the things fixed. And then it continued. And then they had a security incident and I asked to be allowed to go on it. And then during the security incident, I was able to read the code. So there was, I guess I can't tell you about it without breaking my NDA, but basically there was code involved. And I was like, oh, this is happening. And they're like, you can just read that? I was like, yeah, yeah, I can just read that. And a bunch of the code was obfuscated. So I wrote a little script to de-obfuscate the code because I figured it out really quickly. It was super simplistic. And then they were like, do you want to come on all the incidents? And then one day I was the incident manager. It was really exciting. Okay, so we have a question in the chat. Yay, question. How do you think the coronavirus world will take to DevOps? Will it promote more agile ways of working? Do you think it will make businesses more sensitive to application security? Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of changes. I think that we're all going to start to learn to cook our own food a lot more often. We're all going to learn to connect like this a lot more often. And I think like anything, that some companies will do it well and study it and work hard to constantly improve, which is very DevOps, right? Learn about it, try it, measure it, fix it, improve it, measure it again, and continue until it's working really well. And then what some companies will do is they're like, oh, we're work from home now. And all they've really done is instituted Zoom and they've changed nothing else. Just like all those companies that claim they do DevOps because they have a pipeline for some of their software and that's it. And even if they have 100 manual checks in the pipeline and manual approvals and all sorts of other things, and they're not doing any of the other things of DevOps, and it's not across the board, and none of the other things are included, they'll say they're doing DevOps because they have a couple copies of Jenkins somewhere. And the same with Agile, like, oh, well, we use Jira, so we're Agile. No, you bought a tool, you bought a super cool bug tracker. It's awesome, right? I actually really like Jira, but that doesn't mean you're Agile, and that doesn't mean you're using it properly. It's about doing the entire methodology. Like you can't say you're secure because you have a pen tester come in once a year, right? If you pen test things like 20 times, but don't fix bugs, you're not more secure than you were before. You just now have no plausible deniability. So yes, do I think some companies will adopt and excel and end up being even better? Yes, my company has adopted. So at first my plan was I will fly all over the planet and deliver training in person. But now I can't do that. So now companies are hiring me to virtually deliver training for them. And then I made the online course. And it's kind of awesome because I wanted to reach more people. And the online course means that I can make it affordable, but I can still do it for companies. So I go in, sign an NDA, it costs a lot more, but I actually build the AppSec program for their company with them. And we all brainstorm everything together. And like, that's what my dream was to be able to do for companies. And now I can develop like a zillion courses because I work from home and I don't have to travel. So I have more time. And now it's exciting. I can afford to hire a video guy like half the time. And so he's like editing things and I'm making more content. And so I don't think previously people would have been okay with having a virtual trainer. But now, because that's the only option, people are starting to say yes. And that's really exciting. Not as many though. I am making a lot less money, a lot less. Okay, so first question was, because I missed it, what is your opinion regarding how to perform sec DevOps governance? X0 Day, how do you define governance? Because I personally think of it as there's these steps and you need to do them and then you check that people did them. And that can be done in a pipeline for a lot of things. So for instance, compliance. So let's say you work in America and you have to follow HIPAA. Because more people know that, I'll say those ones rather than the Canadian ones that I'm used to. So if you have to follow HIPAA, you could add a whole bunch of checks into your pipeline to check for the various things in HIPAA. I don't know if you can automate 100% of HIPAA, but every single part that you could, add those compliance checks. There's a lot of public cloud providers that are starting to offer automated checks for as much as possible. And there's third-party companies that are getting really cool with that. I'm working with a bunch of different startups right now. So that's another thing I'm doing with my company, which is so exciting. So I'm advising a bunch of startups, and one of them is actually creating this really ridiculously amazing compliance tool. And like, I always felt compliance was like, kind of like going to the dentist, like, you know, you have to do it, but it's kind of painful because I was used to literally interviewing, like people interviewing me when I was a developer, and they had a checklist and they would ask me and I was expected to just tell the truth or just know the answer. And then they would just go away and you would get a pass or fail, right? And so now that we can automate this, so I want to automate as much as possible. I want to save people time, mostly me. I mostly want to save me time. Because if, like, first of all, for governance, if you can automate to make sure the checks are actually done, that means that you actually have accuracy. Because when you interview a software developer, like, I'm not going to say like I actively lied, but sometimes. So did you do this? And I would write down like, yeah, I totally did that. But then I would go and do it, usually. I've had software developers tell me all sorts of things. And then I go and I look in Jira and they've marked all these bugs as fixed. But then I go look in TFS, they were using TFS, and I'm like, I don't see those bug fixes. You didn't actually fix any of them. You just marked them as fixed when I wasn't looking. Do you understand how unacceptable that is? Like, if you're not, he's like, well, I accept the risk. I'm like, you can't accept the effing risk. The CISO accepts the risk, not you. You're some dude that sits 4 cubicles from me. You don't have the authority. And we had like this big blowout about it. But eventually we became super good friends when he understood why he couldn't do that. And then he explained why he was doing it. And then there was compromise. But I think that in DevSecOps, or just like any sort of DevOps environment where you have automated tools that you feel that you can trust, every single step that you can automate, and especially the automation of the documentation. So for instance, so some of these startups that are doing really cool things, like they actually have like a dashboard where you can go and see the compliance for everything. And then it'll actually tell you like, oh, these different ones, we don't know what the license is for them. So we need you to manually fill out and tell us, you know, which license applies to this. And then we can tell you if you're compliant or not, because it wasn't clear from our tools. So then you can know what you don't know, right? I'm not allowed telling you the names of the startups yet because the 2 I'm talking about are in stealth mode still. But when they come out, I will tell you all about them because I'm ridiculously excited that I'm allowed to be a part of them. But like, I always really hated manually doing those things. And so now that there's tools coming out, like tools that like actually work, right? So I have friends that do SANA, like certification, like approvals, basically. That's what the Canadian government calls it. But then like other friends that do like risk assessments and stuff. And so if they can go and see like, listen, there's like 5 open source licenses that we're violating. And then, you know, there's 4 HIPAA rules that this app is breaking. Like, this is not acceptable. I think that we could have much higher quality governance. And just also, you know, just like when you check code in and you can see all the different versions and roll back and know what's going on, etc. For me, it's like really, really exciting that I would be able to go back and see in the pipeline tools, like, oh, this check or that check. And some of them, what they do is they suck up the results of all the different security tools. And then, so I can tell you about 2 tools that do that. One is called Defect Dojo, and that's from OWASP, and it's free. And then there's another one called Thread Fix, and that has an open source version, but also has an enterprise version. And if you work at a giant enterprise, using an open source tool is not always advisable because there's no support and it acts like an open source tool. So there's pros and cons, right? And you decide which is best for you. But they will take all the results of all your automated tools every single time and then give you this picture of like, oh, this team's fixing their bugs really fast. This team's just like ignoring the results we're sending them, etc. And then that could be part of governance as well. Like if you have a service level agreement that all criticals are fixed within 2 days, 2 business days, let's say all highs are fixed within, you know, 1 business week, and then mediums within 90 days, etc. Like let's say, you would be able to actually see that with your eyes. You would be able to search the data, format reports, etc., and then show an actual report with real data. To me, that's magical. Like you can do much, much better work if you can actually see the governance. I get really excited about like numbers and metrics. I'm really good at math. I'm really good at like massaging big amounts of numbers and data and then getting value out of it. It's like, I had a job doing that for a while. Anyway, okay, so more questions. Oh, for anyone who's just joining us, hi, I'm Tanya Janca. I'm also known as She Hacks Purple. I run a training company called shehackspurple.dev where we have affordable training on AppSec. Please go check it out. We released our first course on Monday. And I'm so ridiculously excited. And we do things like this on a regular basis, and we do stuff like this just for members so that you can just bring your questions from work and then I can help you work through them. Yeah, okay, cool, marketing over. Oh, could you please send the links to the tools when you get a chance? So let me look it up. Thread Fix. So Thread Fix, just a second. I'm just going to put this here. Thank you, Alex. Seriously, I cannot tell you how like exciting it is to be able to like, here it is. How exciting it is to be able to just like share all my knowledge in like an effective way. When I give a talk at a conference, like it's super fun. I love performing. I've been performing my whole life. I used to be a professional musician for like 17 years. So I've always been on stage, but I find that being able to do formal lessons with people. So like, this is the thing I want to teach you. I'm going to give you like a lecture, and it's not a talk. It's a lecture, like a professor. And then I'm going to give you an assignment, then I'm going to give you a quiz, and then I'm going to summarize some things for you. And like, to me, that's a good way to drive things home and like have you build upon each assignment until the end. It's like and I'm like doing video, and then I'm doing text, and I'm doing pictures sometimes, and like I'm trying to do every single different learning way because I'm dyslexic. And so sometimes I need to look at things from a few ways before I get it. And so I'm trying to make like the most accessible, easy to learn from training I can. And because it's what I would have wished I could have, if that makes sense. Like I do a lot of things for my younger self. Yeah, thank you. Okay, So, oh wait, and I should give you my website. I'm working on it. I'm working on my marketing. This is my course. Please check it out. Also, okay, so if you're having any fun at all, if you could check the thumbs up button. Hi Siva. If you could check the thumbs up button, that really helps me, because then other people are like, maybe I should watch that and I could learn some stuff. Yeah. Okay, so more questions. Okay, so what has been the most difficult challenge for you as an AppSec professional, and how did you overcome it? For me, there were two things that were the most difficult. One, like they're kind of related. So getting the very first AppSec job. So like where I had worked, they had let me join the security team, but it was part of a contract and I just had, a few months left. So they're like, whatever, we have to pay her till the end of the contract anyway. And they let me join that team, but then that contract ended and I needed to find a permanent job doing security. And everywhere I wanted to join said, well, you have to have X number of years experience. And I said, well, I have 17 years software development experience and then 5 months security. And they just weren't having any of it. And also I was self-taught. And so the other second part was like, I just found it so hard to learn and so unaffordable. So like I work full time and I don't have like a financial life partner, like where we're partnered like that. And so, a single woman who's working full time, who pays all her own bills, like you have like a limited amount of money that you can spend on training, and the Canadian dollar is worth less than the American dollar, a lot less, about 66%. And so for instance, like I really wanted to take a CN's course, but it would have been 20% of my post-tax income for the year. That's how much that's how much it would have been. And I was just like, I can't, that's like all my disposable income for the entire, that's like, I can pay my mortgage, I can pay my food, and then like, that would be the only thing left. And I'm just like, I can't do that. Right. And so I had to find more creative ways. So I joined OWASP. I became the OWASP leader. I started inviting people, like speakers, of things I wanted to learn. I read every single book. I listened to every single podcast. I tried to take all the cheap and free trainings. I took Sunny Ware. I'm going to look her up. So I'm a big fan of Sunny. She made a free, yeah, here she is. So I'll, oh, wait a second. Is this her website? Yeah, okay. So she's really awesome. And she released this training for free. And she taught me the OWASP top 10. I love Sunny. I met her last summer and I just like had like a fangirl meltdown. And I'm not that person. I'm usually really calm. Like I get excited and happy, but I'm not usually like that. And I just like literally was just, and then she hugged me and I'm like, I'm gonna die. But anyway, I really like Sunny. And so she had made a course for free, which I thought was so amazing and generous of her. And then, so like between trying to learn and then trying to be able to prove my learning, it was so hard. So what I ended up doing to get my first pen testing job is I did an entire pen test, including a report and complete remediation of everything I found for free. So I did a network and a web app pen test. And then and I created a full report and then instructions for developers. And then I remediated all of it and then rescanned, retested everything and showed the remediation. And then the guy was considering hiring me. And then my professional mentor, they were trying to hire him for a contract. And he's like the big guy in town. And he told them, I'm only coming if Tanya is coming. I won't sign your contract until you hire Tanya. For me, I need her. So I had so many people on my side. So I had a person teaching me, I had myself teaching me. I spent just like countless weekends, hours, evenings, and then I finally got my first job. And it was awesome. I got to pen test the Prime Minister's website. It was so awesome. I got to like crawl around in all the data centers and smash all the things. And like, I found so much stuff wrong. It was so fun. And I got to be paid to work with my mentor. It was like a dream come true. It was so amazing. And so basically, like a lot of community members did great things for me, like the OWASP, all the OWASP community people like did so much to support me in finding my first job, my first professional mentor, and like the place where I was doing the contract, which was Elections Canada. They were so good to me, like letting me go along on incidents, teaching me incident management, eventually making me an incident manager, like teaching me about like just letting me tag along on anything. So that was really basically like people took risks on me. And I'm so grateful to those people, I can't tell you. Okay, so next question. What are some of the things you'd look for in a person's resume when applying for an AppSec role? How are security certifications viewed by folks in the industry, held by folks who are not doing it full time? Oh, hi, everybody. I see some new people joined. Hi, welcome. I'm Tanya. I'm your nerd. Okay, so if I'm going to hire someone, I want to look for someone who is a software developer or who's a student in like comp sci or something programming, and that they are doing stuff on the side to learn security, and that they are excited. Now that could be a certification. Or it could be that they've joined. So for instance, in my city, we have WOSEC, Women of Security. Oh, ignore that. That's supposed to be the end of our stream, but I'm having fun and I'm hoping you are too. So I'm hoping that we could just stay on for a bit, if that's okay. So like we have a bunch of students that come to our meetups and they're so excited, and like we had to capture the flag and they all came, and we have like little workshops and talks, and they just want to learn everything. And so I look for that. I look for like a person that just wants to know more and needs to know more. I look for a person where if I've given them a book, that they at least tried to read the book. A lot of people will come to you for mentorship, and then you say, oh, you know what? You know, the best security book I ever read was the DevOps Handbook, because it taught me how to do DevOps. And you can't do security right if you're not doing IT right. And it is my favorite DevOps book. I'm such giant fans of the authors. I've read all their books now because I'm like that. And it taught me about like the different components. So then I could see, oh, you could put security here and here and here and here. And like once I understood and could relate to like in my opinion, the best way to make software, then I was like, I see where I fit in. And so if I suggest it to someone and then, you know, we check in 6 months later and they didn't even like check it out of the library. They didn't read anything about DevOps. They didn't do anything. And they're like, can you get me a job now? They're telling me not to hire them. Like that's proof that like, you're not going to learn well on the job if you're not willing to put any extra effort in. For certifications, I would say, so I have like some mixed feelings about some of the certifications. So I'm going to say some political stuff. So I don't think the CEH is worth anything. The Certified Ethical Hacker. I have had dealings with that company where I felt they were unethical. And I went and took the practice course when I knew nothing, and I passed, and I was like, I know fuck all. I don't deserve to have a certification. I knew nothing then. And I like passed the practice test. And I was like, that means someone else that knows nothing could pass. Studying for it and learning all the concepts, that sounds great, but the actual certification itself, I don't feel from what I saw, I didn't bother getting it. I was like, I think I might be embarrassed to have it. However, if someone has it, it shows me that they're trying. Does that make sense? It doesn't show me they're qualified, but it shows me that they're trying and that they want to show their value to me, right? They're trying to demonstrate value. For the OSCP, for the network one, I mean, if you want to be an AppSec person, I don't feel that that's necessary. They have a web app one. I haven't seen it yet. I don't think a 24-hour exam is fair to people who have like physical limitations or who have young children, etc. Like, I think it's like really, the format of the exam is like really biased towards like single 20 somethings. But that said, is it super in depth? Yeah. I feel like a lot of the hacker exams are things that you will never do as a pen tester. So like when I was a pen tester, I just did security assessments all day long. I almost never wrote exploits, or if I did do an exploit, it would be like super simple and like super just demonstrative. So for instance, like one pen test I did, I was pen testing SharePoint. And like SharePoint's a secure tool, but it's the implementation that you're testing, right? There are some tools where I found 0 days. If you're a pen tester, you don't get to claim them as your own 0 day. It sucks. You don't get your name on the CVE, but anyway. But basically, like, I had fun sending the administrator, cross-site scripting pop-ups that would be like me going like this, like, because I am a smart ass, and like the wavy hand and stuff, so that we could find all the ways, and he found it cute. So that was great. I enjoy like making, because I've been a professional entertainer most of my life. So I really enjoy making people like smile and laugh and stuff. So, so if I can find an exploit that makes people smile and laugh, that's like really amusing for me. But like most of the time, what you're doing is just finding that vulnerabilities exist and then like giving them advice on how to fix it. And sometimes literally sitting down at the desk and coding next to them. And that is what I found gave clients the most value, which is why I ended up switching to AppSec. So is a certification a good way to show that you're trying really hard? Yes. Is that the only way to show that you're trying really hard? No. So like I said, the place I really wanted to work, I said, I will do a pen test for you to show that I am qualified. And the guy was like, you're not going to do that. That's so much work. And like, I am not afraid of hard work. And I spent probably 20 hours on it, but I showed him the results. And like I pen tested WebGoat in like a test environment where I worked with permission from the bosses. They said it was okay. And they knew my contract was ending and they really wanted to enable me to find a new job. They had been really happy with me. Our relationship was amazing. And so they were like, we want to do everything to make sure that you move into the best possible next job. They're so great. Yeah, Elections Canada is like a wonderful place to work. If you're wondering, like, it was a really great experience, like beyond great. And the feeling of making democracy happen. Anyway, it's nice to do like a job that you love, but also be able to perform good at the same time. Okay, so like you can offer, say, give me a test system and let me prove to you that I'm qualified for this job. Like I spent 4 months convincing them to give me that job because like I am like a dog with a bone. I will not give up. Like if I want something, like it does not matter what ridiculous stuff I have to do, I will get the thing. And so if you show them that level of dedication, of course they want you to come work for them, right? Like you're going to knock everything out of the park. Like I really impressed them. Things went well, leave it at that. And so do I think that certifications show like that you're determined and that you're really trying? You can contribute to an open source project. That's another way that you could show. So for instance, if you talk to some of the open source project people and say like, can I perform a secure code review on your project and report bugs to you? And then may I use that on my resume as an example. And there are so many open source projects that I'm sure would let you pen test their app for them. Like just write, ask permission, And then this could be like your proof of concept that you show to employers, like as a resume. Like I realize working for free totally sucks, but until we have like a formal program that like can do better than these certifications. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my company again for a second because I can't help it. So I see this as a huge problem. So like I said, I'm always trying to help past Tanya. So what I'm doing is making like this full AppSec program. And then my plan is to get my graduates of the full program jobs. So I want to get them either like a paid internship or a paid co-op placement, or if possible, like a junior full-time position. And that is my goal. Like, so I'm going to create out like the full program. So you could be a fully rounded AppSec person. So right now, the first course is just theory. But then after that, my goal is like more hands-on stuff, like all the things I wish someone would have just sat down and taught me. Because I would say that like a lot of the courses that I've taken didn't teach me the things I needed to do my job. Like I took like an introduction to web app hacking course, right? Sounds really cool, right? And they taught me how to find the OWASP top 10 in WebGoat. But like you almost never find certain ones of the top 10, or you certainly don't find them like that. And I found it really informative and really helpful, but then I went back to work and like I wasn't allowed doing any of that shit. And that only helped me find 10 things. I need to find every single possible vulnerability. And what I would have preferred to have learned was like, well, anyway, read the course curriculum and you'll see what I would have preferred to learn. Like another course that I took, they taught me DevSecOps, but with only a bunch of open source tools that I would never be allowed at work. Like a bunch, like some open source tools are really high quality and are appropriate for an enterprise, but most of them aren't. Like, to be quite blunt, like there's one that I'm gonna not name here, and like it scans and it tells you this, you can't get a report from it. So you're like manually typing stuff. I'm like, fuck. Like that's a complete waste of time. Or like some open source tools that I've used where I spent like 4 months with my co-op student trying to implement it because it just didn't work worth a damn. And so a bunch of my programs are going to concentrate on like enterprise level tools or like medium business size tools. Because if they can afford to hire an AppSec team or an AppSec person full time, they should be able to afford to purchase you a tool and not just make you work with open source stuff. So some open source stuff is really good, like Zap from OWASP. That is a good tool. I put that in my toolbox, period. I don't care that it's free. If I had to pay for it where I work, I would make them pay for it. It is a high quality tool. But there are a whole bunch of web app scanners that just suck. Or like they're good, but they only do part of the job. And I don't want to have to use like 25 different tools to get what I'm trying to get done. So in summary, like I feel that, oh my gosh, this video is so bad. I just like looking at the quality of the video, just gonna apologize again. But yeah, so I'm gonna concentrate on like some paid tools and then try to get like I'm negotiating licensing agreements with some of the bigger vendors so that my students will be able to do like 4 or 8 hours hands-on with the tools. So you actually know what it's like and you can put on your resume, like I've used this big expensive tool. And if that's the tool that they use where they work, that is super high value when you are hiring someone like, wow, they've already had formal training on this tool that we use, so they could just walk in and work, right? Like, that's what I want. Because like in all my jobs, it's like I go work somewhere and they're like, we use AppScan. And so then I have to sit there with someone who's not a professional trainer, who is another employee who's like trying really hard. And they're showing me like their crappy habits on how to use this tool. Or maybe their habits are good, but they're very limited because their knowledge is limited in AppSec, et cetera. So like I want to show basically all the things that I wish I knew so that I could just be a kick-ass DevSecOps AppSec engineer. Okay, so I hope that helps. Okay, so I hi, I'm a DevOps engineer. How can I switch my career to an app security? Is it good to switch? So working as a DevOps engineer, can I switch? So yeah, you can totally switch. You can definitely totally switch. Having some programming experience is really important in order to be a good AppSec engineer. You don't need to be, so you don't need to have done software development for like a zillion years. You don't need to know all the different languages, but you definitely need to understand the system development lifecycle. So of the place that you work. So let's say you're working in an agile shop, you need to understand the processes that they're following so that you can, for instance, do your work in sprints. So if they're doing 3-week sprints, you need to be able to, just test that new feature or just the code that they've changed. You need to figure out a way to work within their methodology. If you were going to do AppSec, if you, for instance, like, let's say you work in a DevOps place, right? If you're a DevOps engineer, like you are way ahead of the curve. That's awesome for doing DevSecOps, right? So you already understand how pipelines work. You already understand the fact that, work is done like this, like how their methodology is done. So you just need to learn the types of security activities that you can do and then optimize them for your environment. So in DevOps, for instance, in a pipeline, I would want to add secret scanning or SCA, software composition analysis. But in a pipeline, I would not want to add SAST, which is static application security testing, because SAST is so slow and there's lots of false positives and it's a high quality activity, but it is not meant to be in a pipeline. Or you can like do a lot of different things. So it becomes where you just test a little tiny bit, like you just test the changed code and you just look for 1 or 2 things. But like you already having the DevOps perspective means like you already have that perspective of how you can change the security activities. So you just need to learn the security activities part. I feel it would be an awesome switch. So is it good to switch? It depends on what you're looking for. Do you want to always learn new things? Do you like working with software developers and DevOps people and site reliability engineers? Like, to me, developers are my people. I love working with developers. When I was young and I decided to take computer science, I had been accepted to every single program I applied to in university and college. So I'd been accepted to dramatic arts because I had actually like won the award for acting for my high school, blah, blah, blah. In history and English and so I'm really good at school. And so I had a choice of all the things and I thought about it and I was like, I like the people in my computer science class the best. And I love programming. There's lots of jobs in it. And I remember thinking like in drama, it would be really hard to find a job. And also that I'd been told I wasn't pretty enough to be an actress. And I thought about the people in my class and I really disliked all of them. Like, not like on a personal level, but the way that they behaved. I found that they all needed attention all the time. They'd talk over each other, etc. But then when I was with software developers, I was like, this is where I fit. Does that make sense? And so is it good to switch? So there's lots of jobs, there's lots of money, that's awesome. But you're a DevOps engineer, so that already applies. So think about it as like, do you think that you'll enjoy it? And I have to say that I was a pen tester and it was really fun, but AppSec is where I was absolutely meant to be. I was meant to work with software developers. I was meant to teach people about security. Like that's the thing that truly sparks joy, as they say. And you want to have a job where you're like, you really like every job has parts that you don't like right now I'm a CEO of my company and that's cool. But like sometimes I have to have difficult conversations with my employees to make sure we're on the same page. Or sometimes I have to answer 500 emails. I hate answering emails so much. And I have to make like difficult decisions. Like, do I sign this NDA where if I break it, I have to pay $20,000, but I really want to work with this vendor and this vendor is really amazing. Is it worth it? Right. And like, I don't like those parts of my job, but all the other parts I love so much. They make me so happy. I feel like I'm doing good things, things that matter, that I feel that that's the right place for me to be. So I think you need to ask yourself some questions, Sivan or Siva. Okay, so what types of languages do you need to know for AppSec or pen testing? I suggest that you learn a scripting language, any scripting language. Python's really popular. There is a Black Hat Python book from No Starch, which one of the people I mentor borrowed from me and never gave back, but that's cool. He's using it, so it's good. But like a scripting language would be good, and understanding like the basics of whatever the tech stack is of where you work. So if you work at a place and every single person's using Java, doing just like a basic introductory to Java will make your life so much better. Like a little online course or something will just make your life so much better. There's no specific language that you need to know. Like I'm a .NET person because in the Canadian government, basically most of the shops were Java or .NET. And once you chose one, you were like pigeonholed and you could only get jobs in that. Is really, really dumb. Like I'm like, I can just program in Java tomorrow. I'm that person where I could just magically see a language and code in it. I don't know why. Everyone has different gifts. The only gift I got is being a giant nerd. Everything else was really hard for me to learn except programming. It just clicks. Like I learned to play guitar. It took like 2 years before I could play a song, but I'm stubborn. So it took me like 4 or 5 years to be able to sing in key. I'm just like, I will not give up. I'm too dumb to stop. But then eventually I released 5 albums. So it worked. But the point is like, there's no specific language that you need to learn. Like if you work in a .NET shop, learn the basics of .NET and know how to use like Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, whatever it is that they're using as their IDE. Just know the basics so you can sit beside them and actually look at their code with them. That is so valuable. And if you want to develop trust with someone, that is an amazing way. I know you can't sit with every single developer all the time, but if there's an incident, if you can sit down with them and understand, it's really, really important. Okay. Do you have some tips regarding a lightweight, secure system development lifecycle for Agile teams? What's your opinion of the SDLC Agile from Microsoft? Okay, so the Microsoft Secure SDLC book, it was written in 2006 and it's old, and it like they do an extremely secure development lifecycle at Microsoft. It impresses my pants off. They take security very seriously, and that's why I wanted to go work there, because I wanted to work with the best of the best, and it was amazing. That said, that is not necessary for everyone. Like millions upon millions upon millions of people depend on Windows every day. If you're writing like little custom web apps for people that deliver flowers, it does not need to have the same level of security. So I think it's too heavy for a small agile team in a small company. Yes, I totally agree with you. I'm going to pronounce your name Sobi or Subi or SO. For an agile team, I think you need to try to set a goal of what you want and then go from there. So for instance, if I believe that everything that can be scanned should be scanned. So scanning your infrastructure and scanning your web apps and fixing those things, because any idiot can run a scanner. A 14-year-old in their mom's basement who's grounded for whatever and who's angry at the world can know how to use a scanner. So if that silly young person is able to find it, you need to find it and fix it, in my opinion. For more advanced things, it's very important you don't leak secrets onto the internet. So I would suggest doing a simple quick scan of your secrets. So make sure all of your secrets are going into a secret store. So that's like a password manager, but for computers. So it's accessed programmatically, not by human beings. Examples of secret stores are like Vault by HashiCorp, or so like there's Azure Key Vault, there's, I can't remember what it's called. I want to say KPM, but that's not it. That's key performance indicator or something. I always get it wrong, but basically there's one in all the major cloud providers. And then you want to use something else to scan to see if there's any secrets in your code. So secrets are passwords, connection strings, hashes. Oh, there's like certificates, keys, private keys, all those things. You do not want, like, you do not want that to leak out into your code. So you could run a weekly scan. You could run a scan on just the code that's checked in to look for that. You can probably automate that. And then another thing I would want you to do would be something called SCA, software composition analysis. And there's tools for that. And you can run them against your repo once a week. And then you can run them when your code gets checked in. And the idea of those are all the code that your programmers did not write, check that to see if there's vulnerabilities that are known. So again, it's scanning, basically. It's scanning like a copy. Let me explain my theory of copies. Operating systems are copies. It's a perfect copy. So if you have the exact same version of and flavor of Linux with the same patches, it's a copy. It's the exact same thing. Same with frameworks, programming frameworks. So if you're using this exact version of jQuery and I am too, we both have the same vulnerabilities, right? So scan all that can be scanned. These are things that are known vulnerabilities that any idiot can know. And that there might be modules and like tools like Metasploit or like the Beef exploitation framework, et cetera, exploit frameworks where someone who's not an advanced attacker could take advantage. You want to be out of reach for those people. So SCA scanning scans all the code in your app that you did not write. So that's like libraries, frameworks, image processing software that you've included in your app, anything like that. Like libraries, like standard in, standard out, you didn't write those, but if there's vulnerabilities in them, you are still at risk, right? So all those things are just like automated scans and they're very fast. And so SCA, software composition analysis, is really important because you can just get rid of all the known vulnerabilities that any moron could find. You want to make it so that an advanced attacker needs to be required in order to get in. So if you are patching all the things, you are closing ports and like performing least privilege, so anything that does not need to be open is closed, and you are, you know, getting rid of all the obvious vulnerabilities and then pushing that code, you will be so much better. Is there a lot more that I wish you would do? Yes, but that to me is bare minimum, and that would require highly likely a more advanced attacker. Also, I have a secure coding, let me look. So I have a secure coding guideline that's free on my website. Actually, let me just so I have like 4 free PDFs on my website. Just download them and then like pilfer the stuff off them that you like for your organization. So for instance, web app requirements. So I have a document that tells you a bunch of requirements that I wish I could see for every new web app. Just take all the ones you like and then put them in every project from now on. And that would, again, like now you have a template, you use the template every time, and then it's faster, it's a more lightweight thing. I hope that that answers your question. Gosh, I went on and on. Oh, also, if you are enjoying this, if you could put a thumbs up, like click the thumbs up button, that would really help me. I want to get more people to watch my show. And for people who joined late, so I'm Tanya Janca. I am the founder of shehacks.purple.dev. We are a training company that trains people how to make secure software. So application security, DevSecOps, how to automate things, how to do incident response to get the best results, like all of those things. So we have like a monthly membership that's $7, and then you get lots and lots of content. Like, so you get invited to these, and then you just get like just lots of content that's insider information, like when to choose a WAF or a RASP and stuff like that. But then I also now officially offer my first course. It is AppSec 101, and it is it takes approximately 2 days to complete if you work on it, like 2 full solid days. And I teach you all about AppSec, what types of tools exist, the activities, how to measure and improve. And then we create a full AppSec program together. So we create goals and then all the steps and tools and things you need to do in order to achieve those goals for your organization. And then you'll have a full written plan that you can bring back to work. And it costs $99, which is super cheap, I feel, compared to other training that exists. Yeah, so I do these in part to try to like advertise my company. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Okay, enough marketing. Yeah, I have a marketing team now, and they're like, you have to do that. Okay, Nick, how to effectively deal with managers' teams who are openly hostile towards security. Oh my gosh, this is such a big thing. I find that when you're an AppSec person, like a big part of what you do all day, every day is actually just you fighting management. Like you need like a shield and a sword sometimes. Like, okay, so if people are openly hostile, so first I always start with honey. So I will start with lunch and learns. And I know you're thinking like, oh, she's a professional presenter, so it's easy for her. It was not easy for me. The first presentation I did, I literally thought I might die. I was like, is it possible to die? And my heart was beating so loud. I was like, can they see it moving in my chest? And can everyone hear it? I literally thought I was going to die. And then my next presentation was actually in French, which is my second language. So I learned French when I was 30, well, 29, 30, 31. It took me 3 years to learn French. And I did a 1-hour training in like 12 minutes. It was so awful. We got complaints. They're like, she spoke so fast like a robot. Okay, so it will get less scary, I promise. So I start with like lunch and learns and like teaching people lessons. And then I like to give developers security tools. So I get a tool approved for them, and then I teach them how to use it, and I try to make it fun. And then I share information about incidents that I am allowed to share. So I get approval first. And then I will show the dirty laundry of the security team. That was actually my boss's idea. I did not like it. I did not like doing it at first, but it turned out that that is a great way to get buy-in. A lot of software teams who were really not on board were like, we had no idea this stuff was happening. Like, I know, that's why we're sharing it with you. We really need your help. Like, we can't do it without you. And then that brought more people on board. And then for people who are just plain not on board, not listening, not nothing, I create a proof of concept exploit, and I'm a dick about it. So like I worked at this one place, and because of our business model, I really needed us to have frame busting. So I wanted us to implement like the X-frame options header. I wanted us to put content security policy, and then I wanted us to, they insisted on being backwards compatible with really old shit. And so I wanted us to have frame busting within our app because it was important to our business model. In my opinion, it was high risk. And they're like, oh, the security tool says that's a low. I'm like, yeah, but that's because the security tool doesn't understand our specific business model and what business risks we're facing. And I like was blue in the face trying to tell them, and they were just dismissing me. Even the security team was dismissing me. So I made a proof of concept where I framed our website and then stole the credentials. And I made it bright yellow so they could see it. And then I put my exploit into a link. And then I sent an email that said, congratulations, you've won a free iPod. And I sent it to all the head developers who weren't listening and the security team. And the security team wrote back and was like, oh, Tanya, it's from you. Obviously, we're not going to click on it. And then I replied all and said, we have 20,000 employees. At least one would click on it. So click on the fucking link. And he clicked on it and he opened it and he's like, wow, this looks like prod. I'm like, it is prod. And then he said, well, this attack is like bright yellow. It's so obvious. I'm like, this took me 45 minutes to create. And like 30 of the 45 minutes was me figuring out how to make it yellow so that you would be able to see the attack. This attack is by default see-through. You would never see it. This took me seconds. Do you understand how easy it is for someone who does not write exploits all day to not only like take their credentials, but send them back and then exploit them and then log them into the website? Do you understand? And then they were all of a sudden the developers write back. I was no longer, they're like, we're in, we're starting now. We're going to create a timeline for you and then we're going to do it. Cool. Thanks. Thanks for letting us know. We understand now. We got it. No problem. And the security team were like, you made us look stupid, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I'm not here to make fucking friends. Sorry for the F word, folks. I just like, it was like a really tense thing. And I feel like sometimes, so like I have strong ethics. I have resigned in protest from a job before. And eventually ended up resigning from that position and making it very clear why. And I was just like, I can't work at a place where you're like, oh, we hired a pen tester and therefore we're compliant, when you won't let me work, you won't let me create value. Like, I can't do this. There's like literally a million other jobs I could have. And I can't sit here and watch you be too afraid to do a good job. And it was like emotional to like resign from a job where like you love your coworkers and like it's a happy place. But I felt like I'm sitting by like and not doing the right thing, if that makes sense. And so like that was a stunt that made a lot of people pissed off. And so first I tried honey, then I tried showing them my dirty laundry. I tried all sorts of things. And then I was like, I'm just going to be in your face. And an exploit of a production system, which did not cause damage, is the absolute best way. The absolute best way to get your message across to those people that aren't listening. But you were going to make enemies. Like, oh my gosh. My director was like pissed. Things did not go well after that. But I don't care. I want to make friends at work. I love making new friends, but that's not my purpose of being there. Does that make sense? Gosh, I just got onto like this giant soapbox and I didn't mean to. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left because I actually have another meeting and I have to go get ready for it. So there are so many messages. So like someone was saying, wow, can I take the CEH exam since I have no experience in the field, but I do have knowledge here and there? If I were you, I would take the prep exam. Like there's like a bunch of sites where there's like prep stuff, like go and take that and see how you do. Like I basically got like a just barely pass and I did the prep exam twice. And I was like, I remember thinking like, I literally don't know anything. And it's not based off of common sense. Okay, so that's the other thing about the CEH exam that I found stupid, was that it was like trivia. It was literally just like infrastructure security trivia. It was just like, oh, if, let me think of a potential question. I don't know how to explain, but like, it was just like random questions where like you wouldn't study for it, if that makes sense. Like to me, I want to know if someone's going to be able to do the job. I want to know if they're going to be able to go in and like give value in a workplace. That's what I, as an employer, want to know. I don't give a shit if you've memorized like all of the bad functions in Java. That doesn't matter to me. And that's not on the CEH. What I want to know is that you have the work ethic and are smart enough to be able to understand and go make a secure coding guideline for my team. So like you can start with whatever I've given you, but then let's say you want to outlaw some functions in, let's say you're using struts and you don't want to use, so they have like a little programming language within struts that like can perform actions and it's really insecure. So let's say you want to outlaw it, right? I think it's ONLG. I know I said that wrong, but anyway, there's a lot of, there are a lot of vulnerabilities associated with this like internal Java struts language. And so you want to know the person will be able to go and learn it. So you could have them like read something and then say, can you find some vulnerabilities in this code? Or ask them like a question about things that have happened and like a situation and say, so like, do you see a problem with this? And then see what their answer is. I've done that with co-op students. And I had one co-op student not only like find the thing that I said, she found another thing that had not even occurred to me. And I was just like, wow, when can you start? Like, right? So to me, I want to know that they're smart, they're willing to learn, and they have some starting point. Okay, so the CISP exam is the most well-recognized and asked for certification, the CISP. However, it is a mile wide and an inch deep. So it means I know a little bit about all the different areas of security. If someone is going to be like a security manager, or if someone is going to be a CISO someday, like a chief information security officer, knowing a little bit about everything, yeah, that's really helpful for management. Will that help you be a pen tester? No, not at all. Will it help you get some contracts if you're a consultant? Yep. I don't have any certifications. Like not really, like I have like silly little ones, like off of like Cybrary, but like I don't have any like from certifying bodies, but I am able to say, Google me, and then people can see I'm qualified. Also, my resume is 23 years long, literally, and I was coding before that. So like I'm in a unique special situation. Yeah. Okay, so some people are chatting and that's awesome. I'm glad. Okay, Tanya, have you done any work with WAFs? What's your favorite? I like Signal Sciences. Signal Sciences is a RASP, not a WAF. It's a next gen WAF. So WAF is Web App Firewall. RASP is Runtime Application Security Protection. A WAF lives on like a web server or your load balancers, and it is essentially pages and pages of regular expressions. And every single input to your app goes through all these regular expressions. And if it looks bad, it rejects it. If it looks good, it lets it through. The more strict your WAF is, the more likely it is that you will potentially block a real business request, which is the end of the world. Trust me, it's very bad. And the slower the latency. That said, the looser you have the WAF, the easier it is to circumvent, and people can still get through. A RASP is it's a stub that lives within your web app, and it calls out to the cloud to do some AI, ML magic stuff, buzzwords. People tend to get better results with RASPs than with WAFs. My favorite WAF would be Mod Security, the original WAF that's from OWASP, and it's free. And you can use the core rule set, which are the signatures, the regular expression, which is from OWASP also, and it's free. I do not understand the purpose of paying for a WAF when Mod Security and the core rule set exists, because every single WAF on the market is based off of that. And a lot of them just steal the core rule set. So I don't know why people pay for them. I am unaware of any open source RASPs. RASPs are big and complex. I should tell you that I am affiliated with Signal Sciences. So I have friends there. One of my professional mentors is one of the founders, and I am affiliated with them. So I have some bias, but also I saw it and it's freaking awesome. And so a RASP, I believe, is similar pricing to a WAF, and it's more like a subscription basis. But the magic of a WAF and a RASP, specifically to have either one, is that you can do virtual patching. So I used to work somewhere and we used Java struts, and it was 2016, and they had several different 0 days come out, and there were exploits being just done in the wild everywhere. It was really scary. As an incident responder, I can tell you, there's like all this gray hair that's like, it's like starts here and it's all like Java struts. And having a WAF means that, or a RASP means that you can put up a virtual patch, which is just a piece of regex that says, if it looks like this, don't let it through. I don't give a shit. And so if you have a 0 day being exploited in the wild, you can go get a copy of the proof of concept, which is what I did. And then you can make your own regular expression that says, if it looks anything like this, just block it. There's no legitimate business requests that are going to come in. And then it just puts like this big block so that you can't be hurt by that. And then that gives your software developers, days, weeks, months to put in a real permanent fix. And then once you've tested it and you're sure, then you take away the virtual patch. That is why I always want a RASP or a WAF. If you don't have money to pay for a RASP, I respect that. Just put up mod security for the sole purpose that when you are ready in time of incident. It is so worth it, and it will make the executives love you, because saying to them, now we're able to respond, it's really, really important. I'm unaware of any open source RASPs. There are a bunch of companies that make them. I know Contrast Security makes one. I think F5 makes one. I'm sorry, I don't know the names of all of them. I actually had a job once where I got to like test a WAF, like as a pen tester, and it was so fun. The guy on the other side, I'm like, is this shit on? Because at first I was like, pew, pew, past it. But then once we turned it on, we got to tune it together, and that was actually it was like a really fun evening of us like talking back and forth and joking and stuff. I found it really, really fun. Can you share any tips? So I'm going to do like one last question from Carlos, and then I have to sign off just because I have a meeting and I have to go to it. Okay, can you share any tips to implement AppSec as part of the regular work of all teams, especially when a company doesn't have a focused team on AppSec or Sec and you are a simple dev member? Yes, definitely. So Carlos, I would probably, if I were you, ask permission to run lunch and learns, and then go through like the OWASP documentation. So lots of people in the OWASP documentation, the OWASP community, give away their talks for free. Actually, let me give you one of my talks for free. So I have a talk that is like the basics of AppSec. And so I made a GitHub repo because that's how nerds communicate. So I'm just pasting it there. And it's called Pushing Left Like a Boss. So it's my most popular talk. I think I've given it 62 times now. That's a lot of times to give the same talk. And it's the foundation of what is application security and why is it important. And so this TTT, so it's train the trainer. It's a video of me doing the talk. It's a copy of my slides, is a written explanation of exactly how to do the talk. And then there's a video of me going through each slide, saying what I want you to communicate and what types of questions you might get. So it's me coaching you to give the talk. So ask if you can give a lunch and learn on that, invite everyone. And I used to bake cookies to get people to come to things. If you feel open enough, like buy some donuts and put it on the table or whatever works for you. And then like invite everyone. And if people come, then consider doing one every month. And then earlier I gave away, so I have like a bunch of free, so if you scroll down that, I have 4 different PDFs that I gave away for free. So then try talking about the secure coding guideline and see if they would consider adopting it. It's very lenient. It's like that on purpose. It's a beginner one. And then you could add more and more and more to it. So like be the security champion in your office, I guess is what I'm saying. So that would be my suggestion, Carlos. Okay, so I have to go because my meeting is starting any minute. I am Tanya Janca. If you enjoyed this at all, please click the little thumbs up button because that helps me get more people to see my site exists. Please go to my website, shehackspurple.dev. And even if you just download the free stuff, I really want to help people create more secure software. It's really important to me. That's why I started my company. It's why I do just countless hours of volunteer work, like founding WOSAC, founding like the OWASP chapter here in Victoria, founding the OWASP DevSlot project, like just like so many things that I do. It's because I want the internet to be safe. I want to be able to shop for shoes and know the shoes will arrive and no one will steal my credit card. I want us to be in a safer, better place so that consumers stop having their personal private data spilled out onto the internet. And so thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. And thank you so much for your patience with the fact that it took me forever to figure out how to stream this. So I hope all of you have a really great day and I'll see you next time. Thank you from shehackspurple.dev. Okay, bye everyone.